Greetings everyone, and Great here for another Age of Empires or Age Mythology Replay. Spawn on the right side as the blue Fuxi, we have ToxotesGreatAgain question mark. Spawn on the left side as the red Susanoo, we have Aces.Husksuppe, or how to pronounce his name. Chinese versus Japanese. When it comes to the major god, Fuxi is the focus of human soldiers and heroes. The Yin Yang Blessing, which provides gift switches between 10% gathering rate or plus 10% human soldier and siege weapon damage. No favorite land, get faster research, and the additions, building additions cost 25% less. Gaining access to Nazha in classical age, and he gets stronger per age. He's like the unique hero for him. For his unique god power, got the Peach Blossom Spring. Deploy out immediately to start generating resources as a deposit. Celestial Weapons gives heroes more divine, actually gets +1 divine damage. And increases, reduces the vulnerability of heroes to hack and pierce damage and reduces train time. Of course, Susanoo, who is the Japanese, which I'm switching to the wrong player on the sides of the map, is the Myth Unit God Powers God, which generates a large favor per Bushido tiers. You get additional experience per Myth Units generated passively and through combat. And God Powers are 20 steps cheaper when you invoke a different one, and units you have 25% faster recharge. This one summons a cast down the sword, damage nearby enemy, and give a bit of stun effect. Get a favor upon tier, and of course give all myth units plus 10% speed and 1 divine damage. Which also does address the Kitsune. Looks like blue is now aging up to Chiyo, and red is aging up to Inakari. Inakari provides 9-tail Kitsune, and of course provides a bit of gold raid. Now this is Fuxi, who's gone for Chiyu. Gives the lightning weapons, give a bit of stun chance for your units. Yazi is a teleporting dragon dog with a sword in its mouth. Key halberdiers give a bit of snare effect and adds maximum range. Gives you a bit of pillage and some Yazi upgrades. And of course for red, he's gone for Inari Okami, which buys the swamplands to get the turtle men to drag opponents or enemy human soldiers down deep. Jorogue Gumo, a spider woman. 9-tail wisdom, Kitsune get additional line of sight and increase their aura stack by 1 and increase hit points by 75%. Sashiyama Bannerman get increased cavalry hit points and give them bonus damage versus cavalry, and you get 50% damage dealt from myth units in return to as gold, but only as the initial damage, and not say a lingering effect, say from the spider lady. Jogo, I can't pronounce her name. Jorogumo. Yazis do offer 16 damage, same attack speed. 16 damage, they're both 16 attack speed. 400 health versus 300 health, of course 5.5 movement speed. This has a standard 4 movement speed. Exotic doggo here. Teleports hit one of the villagers through the trees. The other one does hit the Kitsune. The Kitsune has gone down. Miko gets a bit of health regen. And we also got a Pioneer here. We can't deploy out sentry guns. We do now have some Naginata riders advancing with a Miko. Mikos are honestly not very good versus myth units. She has a pretty good multiplier, but slow attack speed, slow movement speed. If she somehow gets good hits onto myth units, something gone very wrong or very right. She has slower movement speed than most other units in game, foot soldiers included. She moves the same speed as villagers. She's basically a heroic villager. Local cow gets angry. Mad cow disease on the rise. We do have now the mastery of weaponry being researched, as well as some more halberdiers, counter cavalry units there. Which there's Naginata riders, so they are in fact cavalry. Fire archers, of course, anti-infantry, as well as a bit of anti-structure. Though times 6 is not that great versus structures, since they have already high pierce armor. Yeah, that means they only do 10% damage. So even with the... I've had trouble clicking on them. With times 6, let's just round that up to... Let's see, 4 times 6 is 24, so 24 plus 2, 4 is 26.4. 90% less damage is, what, slightly more than 2 damage? Occasionally does 3 damage. Not great still. Not to mention, her range is pretty bad. They're really anti-infantry unit there. The extra fire damage multiplier is just not important at this moment in time, at least. Stable's gonna go on down now. There's a good number of these halberdiers, so the there's pretty good age up there to counter the seems like heavy Naginata usage from the Japanese. We do have the watchtower here firing away. The swamp lands is an ability that probably does need to be nerfed. I think it's far too strong. There was a recent patch. I didn't see any real balance changes when I briefly read the notes. It was mostly affecting other game modes rather than multiplayer. So I think this ability is still very strong at the moment. From very strong to too strong. I think it would be properly nerfed if the radius was much smaller, say about this large. Right now, the best comparison to this ability would probably be spider traps, and it is far, far more powerful than the spider traps. Those spider traps are supposed to be a bit more spammable, of course. Naginata riders push way forward and over here. Does find the Kafuhu. I'm actually clicking on the there. Does bring the swamplands and the katana. I think it would be better to bring the swampland then katana to make this the swampland a bit more cheaper. Good number of the Naginata riders have gone down, but these military units are being grabbed. You can see they're being grabbed pretty. Looks like it was slowed down a little bit, not as fast as it was. So I think it was nerfed in the patch. So beforehand, I think this guy would have been picked off long ago. And it looks like it may have a cap on the number of units it can grab now. So yeah, I think it did get nerfed. Kafus are quite durable. Also, they can get inside the sentry tower. How they get inside of there, I'm not sure. Sort of like the old-fashioned howitzer if there's 5 elephants inside of a transport ship. My apologies, I must have missed this. Blue's pushing pretty far forward of a pretty severe army. Bushido tier is still tier 1. So no... Oh, we do have age up. We got the Rajin. We have the access of Raju, Thunder's Presence, Den Drums, Hana Mask, and Heavenly Barrage. Looks like they're just attacking a structure at the moment, so I can probably briefly look at that. Thunderous Blast, Shockwaves deal damage, expands in radius. Raju, two-tailed wolf with a sword, I believe, in his face. Reduce the cost of god powers, which is very nice for him. More infantry hit points and lifesteal, and ship upgrade. More of this various infrastructure is going to go on down up north. Concealment is a good way to stay alive, but it's very dangerous. Blues pushes way forward over here. Nope, he's just sort of stopping right there. More pioneers being summoned. Got Imperial Academy here. Going for the unique hero Nazha. Do now have some Onomushas to be employed on the field. There's a Thunderous Blast. I see some slight some effects there. We do now have the lightning weapons deployed on the field as well for a bit of stuns. There's a lightning blast. Looks like one more pulse. Got a fair amount of damage on those forces. Weak them up. We got some Yumi archers deployed on the field. Katana has been summoned, splashes down, knocks around these forces, also making those other god powers cheaper. I really do think the first god power should be used to make the other god powers cheaper. Kafu's starting to build some more infrastructure. Got Red before, got the Raiju here. Spider Lady does go down, so does the Bushi, or Onimusha. Another Raiju, so it looks like pulling out a decent number of Raijus on the field. Takes out the unique hero. Of course, he is age 3, but he's not going to need age 3 research because 1, he doesn't have enough forces to warrant the cost, 2, he can get it for free given enough time, and these guys are providing a decent amount of experience. And we do got a number of these Javeliers, counter range units to help counter the cavalry units. These Yumi archers both classify as range and cavalry, so they get countered by both the halberdiers and the Javeliers. But Javelier is probably a little bit more reliable at this one time. Raiju's pushing forward, taking a bit of damage there, knocks around some forces.
Nani?
Oops. I really need to debind some of those structure buttons so I don't actually have to pull them up while in caster mode. Does scream at some villagers. Looks like they've demanded head pats severely. They're actually decently paced. Bah, can't speak. Well, Susanoo's upgrade would increase our move speed quite nicely. 10% increased move speed, so it'll go from 6 to 6.6, so they're pretty agile. The Kitsune could improve these guys' move speed as well. He has the Minor God help support them with double stack there. There are a number of forces there. Got now the Tao Wu deployed on the field. More heroes being deployed on the field, so Sages. Or the other one. Another Katana got summoned there. Next Kappa's costs 43. Nothing too expensive, but still does not have enough for the moment. Plus the cavalry is starting being picked on off, and all these forces falling on back. And looks like some more of these Naginata riders sort of go on down. Got a castle now being deployed in the field up north. More cows being obtained. Exotic cows. I don't know why that sound effect just seems a little bit dull. Tao Wu does get a pretty good charge attack there. It has actually good crush damage. It's a siege weapon, not really a melee force. So it's best used to bash his head against that castle. Yumi Archer is fighting away as a front or backline DPS. Naginata Riders take a bit of damage to the number of halberdiers in the front line to cause issues for them. Looks like the villagers starting to stay in a fight, which is not exactly super great. He does have enough favor for swamp lands. He just got his favorite bonus, so he has enough for swamp lands now. He just got now the heavy upgrade. He should see the heavy units there in front of him. Realize he got that favor bonus. He may be saving up for the Thunderous Burst, but I think that's just go for the Kappas. Got a number of Mikos here for the health regen. Yumi Archer's getting knocked around by the mirror image. More Yumi Archers being deployed on the field, so Javeliers will still be a good counter unit. Yumi Archer is now trying to raid some villagers. Some of these villagers are very wounded. Now some of those villagers have triple kill. I saw 2 of them low health bar. I didn't realize 3 had a low health bar. More young archers being pulled in field. Do have some Javeliers and Halberdiers. Good units right now. And we now are starting to see some of the White Horse cavalry being pulled in field, probably to counter the various cavalry units. Mounted archers are relatively slow. The Yumi archers have the same movement speed as chariot archers. Got some Dao swordsmen, general bulky frontline infantry unit there. Not really needed this moment in time, but it's probably nice to mix in a couple just in case. Ballistics not being researched by Red, something I think he should have gone for a bit of time ago, but of course you never know how much resources you need to keep stockpiled up. But he is playing food and wood at the moment. We have a reserve of gold, so maybe I need to age up. Not sure if a castle ever got completed if we met the age up requirements. Watchtower, basic upgrades, nothing too significant. So I did see boiling oil. That is least researched. We do not have the shaft mine being researched. Up here looks like these various units find some villagers. They're not exactly anti-villager tools, and we do got a Raiju here to eat some of these units. Loose force here is moving around pretty wounded. Maybe trying to get healed up a little bit with a unit wouldn't be half bad. And the Raiju is getting nailed by everything, and does get a mirror image, which will last a little bit of time. Not too long though. Something got casted here. There's Swamplands. I think the katana was dropped on in. And this is a very powerful build with a smaller, high-valued army units like the Horsemen. So it's gonna fall back there. Red is pretty much, or is out of favor at the moment. Cannot speak. He is going for another Raiju. How much favor does a Raiju cost? 3? No, that's population. 20, so that is a fair amount. Cavalry starting going down. Still got this cavalry force here. Mostly Yumi archers. Some of these Kafus are really wounded, starting to be picked on off. Very, very good. 3 of them go down. Red's starting to fall back there. And blue is still being very aggressive, with forces not very good being aggressive. We do have a siege crossbow in the field, which has good crush damage. Damage seems a little bit weird to me. It seems just not even. Quite odd. Like 121. That's definitely an odd number. Or a precise number for certain situations. New archers sort of just being left out to dry. You got Tiger Force Cavalry. They don't actually move too quickly, but it could be a bit of snare effect on that one. Yep, it's a snare effect. And they do have a good multiplier versus range. More than knocking out a rider. Take a bit of damage there. Still pretty far away from the next one. The new patch got rid of the description of provides a certain level of troops. Not sure why they removed that part. By the way, you can see the yellowish there. That's meant for the elite or champion. Then they have unique tier 5 for elite or legendary. I forget what it's called. Either way, got these forces. Can take out the siege crossbow. Does not take out the siege crossbow. And we do have some more Naginata Riders, more Yumi Archers being deployed on the build queue. Castle taking more and more damage. So that's Force of Protection available for blue. Roger taking some damage there. Naginata Rider sort of getting snared there a little bit. Good number of range users from the gate, so the castle does go down. Yumi Archers in general A moves, a good idea. Naginata Rider Strength has a lot of range in front of him, but there's just simply not enough Naginata Riders. We do now have the doggo push away forward. Does get a mirror image there, and get himself stunned. Knocks down those forces into the Yumi Archers. It's not a good or bad thing. He's out of Naginata Rider, so it's probably a bad thing. Raiju will be going down. Red just needs to group up a military force. He's just having trouble maintaining a military force at the moment. Villagers shanking this siege crossbow. And the rest of these villagers being engaged some white horse attack cavalry, which is not that great of an idea, but sometimes you must have to do it. More Yumi Archers on the build queue. Number of red villagers starting going down, retreating to the town center now. Blue doesn't have much siege weapons here, which is a bit of a problem for him. Yumi Archers push the way forward. Does take a bit of damage. The Javeliers do have ranges 17, which outranges the heavy horse archers. Some of these villagers aren't going down. Miko trying to get some healing done. Naginata Riders not being deployed in large enough numbers, likely. Some of those here just sort of phase through the town center. It looks like Red has resigned. This Grade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.